What was behind Rabbi Yisrael Friedman's, the Ruzhiner Rav's display of royalty? And what is the story behind the Torah crown that you present in Great Jewish Treasures?
Again, that Torah crown was part of that priceless collection of Rabbi Halperin. There's actually, I think, 3 objects that I used in the book from that collection, which is probably the most of any other, one collection that I was able to get. It is like I could have made a whole book just from his. I'll just tell you a cute story. Like we were sitting and talking in this, beautiful. The apartment wasn't beautiful, but amongst all these priceless possessions, and we were sitting in chairs talking, and he said, by the way, the chair that you're sitting on is the oldest Kisei Shel Eliyahu, Elijah's chair, in the entire world. It was made in Italy, and I jumped out of the chair. I got so scared that I was sitting in this chair of Elijah, like from the 1600s, that I didn't feel it was proper for me to just like be casually, sitting and talking in it. Anyway, but then at the end, towards the end of the of his tour that he gave me, he went into like a back closet and he pulls out a wooden box, and out comes this magnificent golden crown of the Ruzhiner Rebbe. The Ruzhiner Rebbe was, as you said, he was Rabbi Yisrael Friedman. He lived from 1796 to 1850. And him and his descendants, and he has many descendants that scattered throughout the Torah world, and each of them have their own very prominent group of Hasidus. His emblem, his mark on the Hasidic movement was that he felt that a Rebbe is royalty and should represent royalty to his Hasidim, and being royalty, you have to have the outer trappings of royalty. And that was a very big part of the Malchus, the kingship of his reign, of his Hasidus. So he commissioned beautiful Judaica to crown his Sefer Torah with, to be the breastplate on Sefer Torah. His menorah, every Judaica object that he owned was not just a simple Judaic object. It was one that was crafted by the very artisans and the goldsmiths that crafted the Tsar. His crown, his ornaments was what was used. That was the same. Those were the same people that were working for both of them. And he lived in a mansion. He lived in a palace. His private home was palatial. His Beis Medrash, the study hall that he held his court in, also palatial, with all the trappings of Malchus. Now, you might, you and your listeners and myself might question that, and like, it sounds too opulent, it sounds over the top, and, maybe it doesn't seem that it's the right thing to do. It should be, a leader should be more humble, a leader should live more with austerity. There's a beautiful story, and I bring that in a sidebar on this page, that he had golden boots with jewels, studding them, and Kiddush Levana. They went out to sanctify the new moon on Saturday night, and it was in Eastern Europe, gets very cold in the winter, and everybody was standing outside in the bitter cold saying Kiddush Levana. And then when they all went inside, some of the Hasidim looked at the place that the Rebbe was standing on, and there was blood on the ice. And they didn't understand this. Where was the blood from? And they realized that the Rebbe, with his beautiful gold boots, he didn't have soles on the bottom of them. His bare feet were on the ice itself, and he was just going through the motions. In other words, he felt that the outer trappings of the Rebbe have to be a display of pure royalty and majesty, but at the same time, personally, in his own personal world, he was very humble, he was very simple, and he wanted to feel the pain that the people were going through. He knew that a lot of his Hasidim were very poor, indigent Jews, and he didn't want to be different from them. He just needed to outwardly represent something on a higher plane, but he himself was very, very with the people. And this Torah crown is one that is, it's priceless. I don't know, if it would ever, there have been similar crowns by the same artisan that have been put up for auction on Sotheby's. I remember once my father taking me to an auction at Sotheby's, and this beautiful crown was like spinning around, in one of these glass cases, and it was obviously the centerpiece of that particular auction. I don't remember how many millions of dollars it went for, but that was just a copy of this crown that was made for maybe some, wealthy Jew that wanted to have the same crown as the Ruzhiner Rebbe. But the actual crown that was owned by the Ruzhiner Rebbe is priceless. There's no price.